right, good evening and welcome to the October 7th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals here at Falmouth Town Hall. We will forego the normal introductions at the moment. We'll wait until later and when there's more people here. Up first, we do have executive session scheduled for 6:30 under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, a meeting with Town Council relating to the appeal of special permit number 16-21 Noonan, 183 Surf Drive in Falmouth, and decision from Superior Court relating to comprehensive permit number 117-16 Falmouth Hospitality LLC, 556 Main Street in Falmouth. The board will open in public session, vote to enter into executive session, and we will vote to return back to public session after the close of executive session. So as the chair, I need to make the determination on both of these matters, 16-21 and 117-16, that if the board were to discuss both matters during public hearing process, it would have a detrimental effect on the board's negotiating power with respect to litigation. So I will make the motion to enter into executive session for application 16-21 and 117-16, almost. We will vote, enter into executive session, then we'll vote to come back into public session after the close of executive session.
I'll second it.
All right, so the motion is seconded by Scott, and as always, we need to do a roll call vote in order to enter into executive session. Jerry, would you like to start us off, please?
Jerry Patamas, aye.
James Morse, aye.
Scott Zelinski, aye.
TJ Hurry, aye.
Robert Dugan, aye.
Scott Peterson, aye.
All right, carries unanimously. We will be entering into executive session. Members of the public, sorry, we'll have to ask you to exit the room at the moment. But after we do talk to town council, we'll start back up, and thank you. All right, everyone, welcome back to the October 7th meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals here at Falmouth Town Hall. We did just have executive session regarding two matters, but we did not do our usual introductory remarks, just waiting for everyone to get here. So I'll do that now. Calling the meeting to order, and we'll ask everyone to please silence their cell phones. I'll introduce the board at this time. On my far right, your far left, is Jerry Patamas, who is an associate member of the board. Next to him is James Morse, who is a full voting member. To my right is Scott Zelinski, who is the board's vice chair. My name is TJ Hurry. I am the chair of the board. To my left is Bob Dugan, who is the board's clerk. And to his left, your right, is Scott Peterson, who is an associate member of the board. Also with us tonight is Noreen Stockman, who is the zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, who is the recording secretary for the night. Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the zoning bylaws for the town, and we consider requests for special permits, variances, and appeals as provided in the bylaws, which have been approved by town meeting and the Attorney General's office for the Commonwealth. All decisions the board makes are made through the public hearing process. The board's goal is to hear testimony from the applicant, from the public, and also to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement of the hearing and then present any pertinent information from the file, such as referrals from town departments and summarizing correspondences to the board. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, and time may be extended by vote of the board. The board will then question the applicant, and the public will be invited to comment as well. Public comment should only be directed at the project itself. We ask you to please refrain from making any personal or derogatory statements. Public comment can include an opinion in favor, in opposition, or it might just simply be a question about the nature of the project. The chair will limit discussion in the interest of time in the event that comments become repetitive. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair. You can come to the podium to your left. State your name and address for the record, along with any question, comment, or concern you may have. And we typically limit public comment to 2 minutes per person. As for closing or continuing the hearing, when the board is satisfied that enough information has been presented by testimony and in the file to make a decision, by motion and vote of the board, the hearing will be closed. In the alternative, we may continue the hearing to a future date and time certain. After the hearing is closed, no more testimony may be taken. As for board discussions and decisions, the board may then further discuss the project among ourselves. We would make a motion to either deny or approve. That would be made and voted upon. The motion will include a summary of key findings and conditions. An affirmative vote of 4 members, which is a supermajority, is required for approvals of motions on special permits, variances, and appeals. A split vote, such as a 3-2 vote, would be a failure to carry and would result in denial of the project. Under Massachusetts general law, if a special permit is denied, the applicant cannot return to the board for 2 years unless the project is substantially different. So turning to the agenda for the night, we did just have executive session. We have public comment, followed by 3 continuations, 3 new public hearings, and a few items on our open meeting agenda. Like I said, we did take executive session at 6:30. This public comment period is meant for anything that is not on the agenda. So if anyone out there has anything to say that is not on the agenda, now would be the time. Anyone out there? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our continuations. Up first, we have application 54-21, Green, 71 Alder Lane in North Falmouth, requesting a special permit to raise the existing garage and rebuild an attached 3-car garage with habitable space above.
So, Mr. Chairman, on application 54-21, Green, 71 Alder Lane, North Falmouth, we do have a request for a continuation. Reads, Dear Board Members, on behalf of our clients, Brian and Eileen Green, residents of 71 Alder Lane, West Falmouth, Mass. 02540, should be North Falmouth. We respectfully ask for a short extension to the next available meeting due to clarification on bedroom count and conservation decision. This will allow us time to rectify the issues that arose. I don't know, Noreen, do you have a date you could suggest?
November 4th.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue to November 4th, hearing 5421 Green.
All right.
Second Mr. Morse's motion.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Scott. And I think that the voting members on this was everyone but you, Scott. I don't think you were on the board yet, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right, up next, we have application 41-21, O'Reilly, 14 Montgomery Ave in Falmouth, requesting a special permit to raise and rebuild the non-conforming detached garage and dwelling. This has been continued several times, and I don't think we've actually opened it.
And I guess to the administrator, I don't think Mr. Clower is here tonight, so I don't see I know you sent over a note about they had requested another extension.
Yes, so we did receive an email, I believe it was yesterday, requesting a further continuance.
Where are we with time on it? The timeline, they have to.
So we've never actually physically,
The hearing's never officially
Opened.
been opened.
and all the extensions have been for
How
the
many
same issue.
How many times can you do that? I mean, really? Without
You don't
opening.
have, in your rules, you don't have any specific requirements for extensions.
But as you noted, it takes up space on the agenda. You know, if we schedule it, we probably did bump something else off, I can't remember.
Somebody that was ready.
Right.
Do you know if Mr. Clower had planned on coming tonight or not?
I imagine he's probably coming later for another hearing. I mean, if you want to take it up at that time and talk to him. I did advise him that we had executive session tonight.
Because all the extensions seem to be for the same issue. They're still trying to work out stuff with the representatives of the neighbors for their concerns.
All right, so it might be best to...
Oh.
Withdraw.
Mr. Clower is now.
There he is.
Turn his mic on.
Attorney Clower,
I thought you guys were going to be running longer for the session.
Okay.
you were just
We don't get
discussing
paid
one
by
of
the
your
hour.
matters, 41-21 O'Reilly.
So we did submit a request for an extension. We are submitting the septic plans first. Would like to have that through the Board of Health. I understand there's been a few extensions here, but whereas it hasn't been open and we're still dialoguing with the abutters attorney, I hope that's amenable to the board.
How much time do you need versus a withdrawal and resubmission, Mr. Clower?
You know, therein lies the magic question. I had expected we would have had this resolved by now. We don't. I spoke with the engineer about this yesterday. He thinks he'll have the submission done fairly soon. I'm not sure what the time frame for submission to the Board of Health is, and resolution of that is, to be quite honest. I'm not sure if that's a matter of 4 weeks or not. I suspected this would be the question that came up. I discussed it with my clients. Our preference would be to continue to extend rather than withdraw without prejudice and resubmit. But if the board would prefer that, would of course be willing to consider that.
Is there an issue, do you know if they made a determination on bedroom? Because you said there's a question on septic tank. Are they into redesigning the septic tank?
No,
Because-
there's been some revisions to the plans
Does it
based
go?
on
Take a
correspondence with the abutter.
Jerry, we really can't be getting into the details if we haven't opened up the hearing yet.
Can't
but-
take testimony.
No, it's just the
okay.
validity of the
Yeah,
request.
but Attorney Clower is, at least he's making the representation that you're trying to get through Board of Health, right?
Okay.
Board of Health, and trying to work through some issues that the abutter expressed in correspondence that was submitted to the board. My preference, just for selfish reasons, would be to just continue to extend, but I understand that the board would prefer that we withdraw and resubmit.
Is it a matter of getting on the Board of Health agenda? Or are
it's,
you working that administratively?
Finalizing the plans and submitting to the Board of Health is really the issue that's holding us up right now. And I had hoped that would be resolved prior to this hearing, but it's not.
So that's the engineer's schedule too, finalizing the plans.
Yep.
Everybody's backlogged.
Yep,
from what they
yep,
told me.
that's exactly it.
My suggestion to the administrator through you, Mr. Chairman, would be a 60-day extension, at which point the board could either deny or ask for withdrawal at that point, but do we have something 60 days out, 2 months out?
So 60 days out. So my only question with that is, I know we have those 40Bs and everything coming up that we're working with. So what is our docket like now, that far out?
Is that too much time?
Yeah,
No, what
so
you doing?
this
We
point
don't-
time, you'd be looking at December.
Can we deny, Mr. Chairman, can we deny if we haven't even started the hearing?
He said
I mean, we
60
could
days.
deny the request and,
Oh, for the extension?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean.
okay.
I don't want to deny until we give them an opportunity.
Hypothetically, we could.
Yeah, I don't want to either.
Yeah, I mean, if that was the case, we would simply request a
The
withdrawal.
way, I mean, the way the schedule is going, it would seem it would be easier to withdraw and resubmit, only because everything else on the docket, and everything seems to be extending 3, 4.
I mean, in full disclosure, I have
The
the,
applicant, but I do want to get this off.
I have the authority from my clients to withdraw, to request a withdrawal without prejudice,
Yeah.
if the board would prefer that. So,
I think, could we poll the members? I think we all would prefer you withdraw.
I'm happy to suggest that without even going through the process of
Okay.
polling the members, because it seems that's the indication.
That's your
from the board.
request?
I'm happy to amend my request for a withdrawal without prejudice.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, so the motion was made by Scott. I'll give the second to Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Attorney
Thanks,
Clara.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
All right, up next, we have application 57-17M, North Star Place LLC, 123 Brick Hill Road in East Falmouth, requesting a modification to comprehensive permit 57-17 to allow a modification to previously approved plans. And the voting members on this were,
The regular member.
yeah, Bob, myself, Scott, and,
I don't think I was on
James?
any of those others. so
no, I don't think you were, Jerry.
I can't vote on this.
All right. Do you need to make a disclosure, Jerry? Actually.
I can make a disclosure.
Sure.
North Star at the time, I don't know if it's the same North Star, built my house for me 15 or 20 years ago. This came up before. I sought advice from Frank. I sought advice from the Attorney General. And no one at the time thought there was a conflict. North Star Construction lists me on their webpage as a reference. I asked Dana, who I think is the new co-owner, to withdraw my name 2 or 3 years ago. So I think, given those facts, I don't think well, I'm not a voting member on this one, so it's really immaterial.
Right.
And I'll wait to hear back from Frank. Maybe I'll send him a registered letter, but as I told Frank before, I think it's deceiving. They've worked for me. They take the name off the webpage. Doesn't mean they haven't worked for me. I would still need to, every time either of the two gentlemen come before, if you have to go back 15 years, I don't know what you guys do as an attorney or real estate agent, where it stops, where you have a current conflict of interest, an apparent conflict of interest.
Yep.
15 years is quite a bit. My bathroom was 4 years ago.
Okay, but just regardless, I think this was on the agenda before your reappointment to the board, right? So you wouldn't be,
I can't vote, yeah.
Right, you wouldn't be
yeah.
participating either. And Scott, same point, I think. I think this was on the agenda before your
Correct.
appointment to the board. Okay,
And I won't discuss this.
all right. So, Mr. Maroney, you have the 4 regular voting members.
Thank you.
No worries.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Nick Marioni for the applicant. When we were here last time, we had left with a list of things to complete. I'd like to bring up my screen here for... So, what I've done is taken a site plan and located the things that were not on the plan previously. For instance, where my pointer is here, this is the bus shelter. It's a 5-foot, I'm doing this to show you where everything is. If everything's okay, we're gonna get Mike Borselli to do the plan as a submittal to the board. Just wanna, before I have him do it, I wanna be sure it's what you're looking for. So I'm showing the 6 foot off the sidewalk and 24 feet off the street is the 5 by 10 foot bus shelter. Then the sign is 18 feet off the street and 24 feet off the sidewalk. We put the fence in with landscaping. I'm going to show you pictures of that shortly. Additionally, in the back of the site, we put a fence in along the detention pond, a split rail fence I have pictures of. I showed the correct location of where the guest parking is, and it's 30 feet wide by 22 feet deep. This is the sports court that's out there. It's 21 by 30, and it's 15 feet off the fence. And this is the proposed storage shed, which is 12 by 16, and it's 13 feet off the curb on this side and 10 feet off the curb on that side. This is a photo that's shows, this is the handicap unit where there was a rather dramatic photo shown of this vehicle here being right on the gas meter. This is from a different angle. It shows that it's quite a ways from the gas meter, and one of the only reasons this unit is so close, even if that's considered close, is because this is a handicap unit and the driveway is 2 feet wider than all the other driveways. The shed and the sign with showing the landscaping along the split rail fence that was installed. Another angle in the same split rail fence. Landscaping at the sign. This is the front dumpster pad that didn't have dumpsters, of course, and we ended up getting 2 parking spaces out of that. This is the front parking spaces that were supposed to be 7 spaces, but right here is where the pump chamber is, so we just elected at the time not to pave over it. We have the 2 parking spaces I just showed you. We have 4 here, and to the right of it, I'll show you 2 more. There's the other 2. Also, I want to point out where I'm on this photo, that's one of the trash totes right there that people are putting on their patios. There's another angle on the parking spaces. This is that pump chamber again. Enough pictures of the parking striping. It's the fence along the detention pond. That's the basketball court and the 3 spaces in the back. These photos are showing, this is a Saturday morning on the site, showing that the depth of these parking spaces and how, this was where the sidewalk was shown on the plan. As you can see, there's plenty of depth in these spaces for these cars so that they're not parking that close to the stairs. So a sidewalk here would be connecting these 2. So I guess you don't really need to see any more photos of this. I'm sure you don't want to see the rest of what I have. But so we feel that we've addressed everything on this list with the exception of the sidewalk. And I know that that means a lot to the board. I just don't know what to do about it. Put the sidewalk in, which I don't think is an effective solution because it really doesn't do anything. I don't think the bollards solves any problem because it's not really an issue with the gas meters. The only other thing we think of is striping, or if you want, we'll connect the sidewalks, the parking spaces, but that's not really a sidewalk that we have. That's the problem. It's a continuation of the parking space. It's really just a,
What's to keep that car from going right up those steps?
well, a sidewalk wouldn't.
But a sidewalk would be elevated, wouldn't it, with some kind of curb
I
in front of
suppose
it?
it could be if you put a curb on it, but
Sure, if you're going to give testimony, you got to come to the podium, please.
Good evening, Board. John DeSangro, 28 Tamway in Falmouth. So basically, the point that I want to make is, when we were out there developing and building this project, we did everything that we, granted, we veered off the plan as far as the sidewalk goes, and no one meant any disrespect by doing that. I mean, if I had known at the time that the sidewalk, what wasn't part of my plan, I would have addressed it to Noreen and the board and all that. So I didn't mean any disrespect by not doing that. It's just like, in my opinion, it's a bad, as far as the sidewalks go and where they would be, to me, it's a poor design. It's just, it wouldn't
It was your
work.
application, Mr. DeSantis.
No, I know, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But, as a,
We have other issues that we addressed that night, too, that he didn't bring up. Now, the drainage, where it went straight instead of around the drainage, you guys decided that that wasn't a good plan. Remember that? The pump chamber, which by your pictures right there, looks like it's just an aluminum access cover to the pump chamber. That wasn't the way that was supposed to be designed. That was supposed to be an H20. So there was, in fact, more items that were on the plan that you guys chose to circumvent out of convenience, it looks like.
Well,
And cited it as site conditions, which we could never get a straight answer out on the last hearing.
as far as the chamber pump goes, I mean, that was built and installed and built to perfection, professionally.
Was it
by
per plan?
professionals.
Was it per plan?
To my knowledge, yeah, I don't think I veered off where that is.
Wasn't that
Like I
supposed to
say,
be a
that's,
parking spot with an H20 cover in it, right? So it wasn't per plan. Not to be argumentative.
yeah, but, no, not to be argumentative, but,
At
like,
all.
everything in the ground is H20. It's just, the thing is as far as that chamber goes, I have to have access to go in there and check that, and go in, be able to open that up and look inside there and make sure.
That was a parking space with an H20 cover that gave you access.
But still, I would
You could
need,
still do that, right?
but still, I would have to,
What
well, no,
about-
I wouldn't want to, are you saying that I should have asphalted
I'm simply
over
saying
the,
that we
over the,
would
over the
prefer
chamber
that
cover?
you stayed by the plan that was approved.
But again, so the point, I understand that, but listen, to my knowledge, that chamber is done, by the best of the best. It was built to perfection. It works beautifully. I want to say, even though, like, the sidewalk didn't, it just, I don't understand what people would walk their children in front of people's apartments right past their bedroom windows. It just, to be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, and again, I should have brought it to the board, that was a poor design. There shouldn't be a sidewalk there.
Who designed it?
Mike Borselli,
Who was he working for?
he was working for me, but,
Then that argument should have taken place somewhere else and not before this board to approve or disapprove, and we approved it, and it didn't get put in the way you brought it to the board.
but again, it wouldn't make, Scott, in all honesty, it just wouldn't make any sense. I mean, the other
That
thing.
was an argument that should have taken
I
place
understand.
prior to this.
I apologize to that. Listen, as a developer, I've built, hundreds and hundreds of homes in this town in many, many subdivisions. As a developer, I mean, it's my first 40B project. I mean, I'm used to, you get a plan, you do a subdivision and you build it out. So, but again, the point I'm trying to make is, I want to let the board know, there's nothing that we're trying to get out of. This place is my life, morning, noon, and night, and it's operating like a fine-tuned machine, when I tell you. So I see all the children that go to the bus, the people that live out back, some of them once in a while, they walk along the side, they get on the sidewalk. A lot of the people drive their kids to school or drive up to the end of the street and sit with their children in their cars. So I just want to say, I haven't had come close to a problem or a complaint with any tenant on really anything, and especially to do with the sidewalk. And again, I want to be very, very clear. I'm very, very appreciative beyond belief that, we got the grant to do this project. I told John Drewley when he brought this situation to me, I said, John, before I do one thing wrong, I'd lie my head over a railroad track before I let you down. I said, I'm going to make you proud.
Truly bring this to you.
Well, he brought it to me as far as the grant, as far as getting the grant.
When was that, Mr. DeSantis?
That was, before we did the project.
Oh.
So, when I got the grant, and that was orchestrated by John Drewley, so again, the point I'm trying to make is, we're not trying to get out of we're not trying to get out of the sidewalk, because I want the place better than you want it as the owner, okay? So again, it's just, it doesn't make any sense at all. It just doesn't make any sense that people would walk along that part of the road.
So I'll tell you, my issue with the sidewalk thing isn't where people are gonna walk over it, but in general, you never asphalt the driveway into a building. You never asphalt the driveway into an entrance. Because what happens is people end up hanging out, or they come home late at night, or they go closer. Now, when I went through, some of the cars, yes, were pulled back. But I've seen baby carriages in the parking spaces near the entrance where the sidewalk would have been. You've got somebody that might be elderly, or somebody didn't see something. So the sidewalks weren't just there for a weird aesthetic. They actually give a buffer from people that are, pulling out. You look at something, it gives some kind of a barrier. And when we look at these projects, especially on these 40Bs, we have to stand in for every single department in town. So when we finish these projects and we list the conditions and everything else, we just expect that what the final was, where the developer at the time didn't have any issues with it, that was what would take place. You were lucky enough to get the grant, and I think that's great, so we'll let the project be done.
Right.
As a town meeting member, I voted for money for the grant. But the people doing that grant also relied on the plan that the board had set up. And when people reviewed the project, to vote on it, they looked at the plan the board was put up. So I hadn't been in there since you did it, so I didn't realize until that last time I went that the sidewalks had never been put in. But you decided to put the drainage pond. On our plan, it shows it's a play field for the kids. It's a grass play field. So that was a switch that we didn't know was going to happen, and then that turned into some kind of an asphalt court on the other side, where the parking spaces you have moved on the cul-de-sac, that you have lined now, you got basketball hoops in the middle of the parking spaces. It doesn't make sense. And I know you must see it every day, and I don't know where they play. Do they play actually in the cul-de-sac, or why are the hoops being set in the parking spaces? It just seems like there were things that were done and changes that didn't have to happen because the money was there for the entire project to be built as it was. But certain things like the sidewalk, it isn't just a aesthetic issue. Common sense safety concern, you do not asphalt the driveway into a building. And on the new picture of tonight you said there was a dramatic picture. Yeah, I took the original picture and I walked over to the car. That car wasn't parked completely on the driveway. It was parked more to the driveway and the lawn, which was against the meter.
I've never ever
I'm
seen.
sure if you saw
I've
it,
never seen her park not on the
I'm sure
asphalt.
if you saw it, you would
No
have
one.
stopped it, but, I'm not here to take dramatic photos. I was concerned because the pipe was on the meter. And I think that the representative at one point knew that they were parking like that and said, oh, yeah, I saw something like that too. So you can't be there all the time to manage it.
But I am there morning, noon. I'm there morning, noon, and night. I do all my own maintenance. To be honest with you, again, and I know you guys. I know how you feel, but again, I just want to say, the place is just working perfect. It's working perfect.
Like I think you put the deflectors up now on the light. So our last hearing, we had a butter that said, I'm getting lights in my area, and when we referred to the decision, because we have to double check, decisions go a long time, the decision said that all the lighting had to have deflectors on them. They just weren't ever put in.
Well, we took care of Mr. Pucci. I took care of him. He's a friend, to be honest with you. Very nice man, a good abutter, we're friends. So I took care of that lighting situation.
Do we have, just an aside, so in the original decision, it said that we were going to get a management contract or whoever's managing, not the monitoring agent, but a management agreement, was that ever submitted? And who's what's the management company now?
Mercantile Property Management out of Bourne, and we gave you a contract beginning of the project, beginning of the rental period, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Bob?
No, that's it right now.
But again, the point I want to make is, as someone who's lived in this town for a long time and built many homes and remodels and additions, none of this is meant for any type of disrespect at all. I built this project from the ground up in like 14, 15 months. I did really, really good for the times that we're in, with COVID and getting people and, so I think I really, really did a great job. And I can tell you, there's not one single tenant that doesn't want to re-sign for the next leases going in. The 20 tenants that live in there absolutely, unbelievably love being there. Just so you know, everybody's very, very comfortable. The units are beautiful. And again, people no one plans on going anywhere for a long, long time. And the kids, they as far as going down to the buses, they drive, they walk with their parents, and there's never, ever been close to being an issue. Driving near the gas meters, there's never, ever been a car that's anywhere near any meter. There's plenty of room in between, and again, the place is working like a fine-tuned machine.
Mr. DeSangro, you understand that we're tasked with protecting the integrity of the process, though.
I understand.
So,
But again, as a professional builder and developer, it's not a
I would be mad at you if you built a house that I approved that wasn't to the plans that I thought it was being built.
But in an infrastructure, this could potentially,
Matt, you had an opportunity to appeal this if you didn't like the decision, right?
Listen, knowing what I know now,
Okay.
if I was going into it now, there's a lot of things that I would know.
This is your first 40B?
It is, sir.
Okay.
It is. And again, this place, as I hate to repeat myself, this is my life down there. I'm there morning, noons, and night. I watch over everybody, everything, and it's just been a complete success. So whatever I's and T's we need to dot and cross, because we're so very appreciative what the town and the townspeople did for us to make this project happen. We're forever grateful for that, and we want everybody, any abutter, you guys, any tenants, everybody, we work our hardest to make sure that everybody is very comfortable and everything is working real good.
Personally, I'm sure that your intent was just,
Well, of course.
but you failed on many points to follow the plan on this. And that's concerning.
Boy, I can't, I mean,
One thing has nothing to, your intent has nothing to do
I understand that.
with, and I know your heart's in the right place, or I give you the benefit of the doubt on that. But there's a reason why you go through the process,
I
and
understand.
there are conditions
Understood.
and findings, especially on a project that you're given the money for. 40Bs aren't like changing things on the fly in a subdivision that you own. This is totally different from what you're describing as a subdivision.
As far as the chamber goes, can I ask, I mean, have you,
Chairman, I'm good. I made my
All right.
point, and I appreciate the time.
everything is state of the art.
Mr. Sangro,
Working
I'm not
perfect.
If I could come at it from a
Yes,
different,
sir.
if I could come at it from a different angle.
Sure.
So you said this was your first 40B, and you've told us that you're a experienced developer in town. So you understand that this board, when considering 40Bs, one of the few things that we actually get to negotiate are issues of local concern, right?
Of course.
And safety being one of them. You do understand that,
Yes, sir.
right?
I agree. Yes.
You'd agree with me that something is like a sidewalk would be a safety concern regarding a project of this size, right?
If you, to be, again, and I don't mean any disrespect.
No, and I don't
I
think
mean-
this board
I
is
mean,
accusing you of any
the-
disrespect at
the-
all, but just so you understand where this
I
board is
understand.
coming from, especially when you said it was your first 40B.
I understand. It's just like I say, I built it again, if I had it to live over again, I would have came back to Noreen and said, Noreen, the sidewalk situation I don't think it's a very good design. Let's get people out to look at it. But again, I did it with, to the best of my abilities to make the project, a smashing success. I mean, no one's come close to riding into any steps or doing anything like that. No, nothing is, for the first year, I mean, there hasn't been one single issue, for whatever that's worth. Everybody pulls up, they park. It's been working really, really, really good. And as far as me getting into the pump chamber to check that, because, being on a common system and having 20 different residents, flushing their toilets and it all going to one place, I keep a very, very, very close eye on that. I open up the chamber pump every week. I look in there, I check it. As a matter of fact, we had a clog I got a call from a tenant a few days ago. The toilet won't flush. And, we had the presence of mind to put clean-outs coming up in front of each building. So, I called CSI, he came over, he snaked through it, and he said, you have to remind the people, they just can only use toilet paper in there. So, again, I keep a very, very, very close eye on everything, morning, noon, and night, so everybody in there is living a very good, comfortable, and happy situation. All right?
I did have a call today from Mr. Pucci, who I think is a rear abutter, and he had appeared at the last meeting. He did say that the lights that were formerly a problem have been shielded, and that they've put in a different light bulb for rear parts of the residences so that they're not as bright. He did ask, though, that you put in like an arborvitae or two
Yep,
on your side to try to provide a little more screening so that there's privacy.
And I told him, I said, Tom, I'll work with you any which way, shape, or form. On the building next door, the people that live behind, their name is the Johnsons, they're good friends of mine. As I was developing and building, they watched over it, and anytime people went down there, they'd call me. So I planted a half dozen, what are they, arborvitaes? So in the back of building number 9, to block off for the Johnsons. I think Mr. Pucci made a comment that he was, talking about them, so, I addressed that. And on that other side, not part of the comprehensive permit, on the Sophie Lane side, I added like lots of fence. There were fences on the people that, that needed, there were hundreds of feet of fence that needed to be put up on the other side. And I went ahead and did that, because again, I want everything to be perfect. And Nick and I, we're not looking to get out of anything. We just, as far as we did this, we just did it to how we thought it was the best way to do it as professional developers and contractors,
Understood.
without any disrespect.
Do you know the approximate size of the patios, just offhand? It doesn't have to be exact.
They're, for the sake of argument, they're like 10 by 10s. Maybe 12 by 12, Rob.
Okay.
James, any questions? All right.
All right?
Mr. DeSangro,
Thank you very much for your time.
Turn it to public comment. Questions, comments, concerns?
I'm sorry.
Richard Johnson, 1 Amvets Avenue, landscape architect. May I suggest a compromise on the sidewalk is to install concrete tire stops 3 feet off the wooden steps? That should prevent any cars from approaching the gas meter or the wooden structure.
I'm sorry, Richard, I didn't quite hear you. What are you proposing?
Concrete tire stops at each parking space.
Thank you.
They're relatively inexpensive, and they're probably more effective than a sidewalk would be.
Thank you for that.
All right. Any other public comment? All right, seeing none.
I just have a quick question for the administrator. So do we have that, that management agreement from Mercantile Property Management? Because I didn't find it before when I was looking for it.
I would have to double check. I think it's in the file, but.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Marioni, anything else to add?
No, I'd be happy to resend the Mercantile contract.
Well, if we already have it, we don't need it. I just didn't see it. So if you've sent it already.
Yeah. No, and the tanks are H20. It's just an aluminum cover that you can drive on. just choose not to, had chosen not to.
Scott,
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Scott, if you don't mind me asking, have you ever taken a drive, have you ever, with all due respect, have you ever driven through and looked at,
Of course I have.
you have? Okay.
All right.
You must have been very impressed.
I certainly was.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I think we're just
Questions,
about
comments?
done with,
Yeah,
Testimony?
So, Nick, you guys are gonna redo a plan. I think maybe it would be a good idea, personally, for the bumpers to be added to that plan at least.
I think that's a
For the
fair
next
compromise.
Add
All right.
parking bumpers to the plan?
And I guess we can agree to disagree why the drainage went in the way it did around the catch basins, but that is what it is now, right?
It is, and I, just for the record, I would like to disagree with Bob. The actual approved subdivision plans don't show that as a playground area. That is a detention pond on the final plans.
So when was
The
that
record
changed from the
plans.
plan that we have that says play area?
So play area was perhaps the original iteration.
So then they changed it, we just weren't aware that they changed it, because they just decided to move it? I mean, we have a plan in the file that was listed.
Yeah, but it's not the final approved plan that we were supposed to build off of. I know the final approved plan also had sidewalks.
Okay, so what you did then, that's what you were gonna do, and then you changed it, but you just didn't tell us that there was an
No, you saw it, you approved that plan. The date of the plan that shows that as a detention pond is the record set that's in the comp permit.
So I don't know if you guys want to discuss this at all, but I've got some other questions, just board discussion. So originally, this was dumpsters versus, I know they're asking to do cans. There's been testimony that the cans are being stored, in most cases, on the patios. You've got, let's give them the larger patio, let's say it's 12 by 12. You know, that takes up a big area of the only patio space that you have.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
No.
They don't put the trash barrels on the
we're
patios.
going to have board discussion
Oh, I'm
afterwards.
sorry.
Thank you.
But
No, but earlier, there was a message to run patio. So I think when you do these rental projects, they just run better with dumpsters. You get tenants that don't put out the trash or don't set it or in back, and then you've got a butters in back, and what if somebody, you know, is storing trash and the animals get into it at night or whatever? It just seems like a cleaner project the way that we originally had it, where it was a dumpster setup versus now.
And that's certainly adjustable.
That's adjustable.
More than some of these other
That's
infrastructural
an adjustable,
things.
easy enough to adjust.
I mean, so if we're going to make some kind of compromise, Nick, those are the things you should be paying attention to get us to a common ground here. Would you guys agree?
No,
Yeah.
that's fair,
I
Scott.
think another problem, though, obviously, this project was before my time, too. But, you know, you don't want to have an entrance driveway, and before you even come to the units, you hit a dumpster. I mean, that aesthetically is not a good look. And I think, not speaking for the developer, but I guess speaking for the developer, is that, you know, they found that the dumpsters would be more likely to draw issues with animals or with people coming in from other areas and dumping their trash.
So the management company would be responsible for
So-
making sure that wouldn't happen?
Well, or that the trash is picked up in a timely way and that there's not,
I understand that. The thing is that these units are really gonna have to roll stuff over the lawns to the backs. They're not gonna wanna put their cans in front. You only have the asphalt driveways. So if they're not putting them in front, they have to put them out back. If they're gonna put them close to the house where they want them, they have to put them basically, if not on the patio, next to the patio. Everybody on that side that has the fence, which is the Jamie Lane side, is all looking over to, I mean, that's what they look at.
Both sides have the fence.
You know, tenants are tenants. Sometimes someone goes away or there's issues that have, it's just that whenever I've seen a large rental complex, they've always handed, it's easier with the management company.
Rob, can I just say, I pay more money.
Mr. DeSangro, we're trying to have
Oh,
board discussion.
I'm sorry.
We
I
can
just
let
want to
you-
explain the trash, because I get,
Probably be better off relaxing for a minute.
No,
so
I'm
we can-
fine.
So we can get
All right.
some,
but the trash pickup is working perfect. Everybody takes their barrels in, out, I help. It's, if we had a dumpster, I'm, then you're gonna have people from, whether they're visiting or other neighborhoods, they see a dumpster, You know, it's, the dumpster was a bad idea. The trash pickup, and I don't mean any disrespect, I just want to let you know, the trash pickup works beautifully. Cavosa comes every Tuesday.
Chairman, can I make a motion to take a 5-minute break, please, so we can break this cycle for, he's losing his representation, and it's convoluting the process.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to do that.
And to
I'm
use your term,
I'm Scott, I'm trying
lack of
to,
disrespect.
But I'm just trying to
If you give us
explain.
5 minutes
All
to
right.
discuss this,
The dumpsters
it may behoove you to do
all
so.
right, okay.
Please.
It works good.
All right, so was that a motion to?
Well, no, we just need 5 minutes to be able to discuss this without interruption, so we can come.
All right. So we weren't trying to kick them out of the,
No.
so, no, I know. Just so everyone's clear, we weren't trying to kick them out of the room during the public hearing process, but we need board discussion that's uninterrupted.
Absolutely.
So,
So these are my comments, everyone's may change. I have an issue with getting rid of the dumpsters and going to all cans with the amount of units that are here, and I understand the idea that people can use dumpsters, that's what a management company's for. The dumpsters are always enclosed, we've always said that dumpsters are enclosed, you don't see them, or if they want, they can put stuff in front of them. The issue I have with moving that play area to the other side and replacing it with a asphalt square is that pretty much all the children in there, when you go in and out, are really tiny. They're, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. That's what the idea of the green space was for. We've gotten rid of all the green space over here. It's turned into wood chips and a big asphalt square.
But Rob, in all fairness to the applicant, there are certain things that would be very cost prohibitive now, after the fact.
Well,
I mean,
I understand, no, and I understand.
we are where we are right now.
I understand that, but again, the town gave the grant for this
I understand.
based on a plan, and that's what they expected. And I understand people can change a plan, and that's fine. But,
No, it's not fine.
well, no, people can change a
get
plan
you.
and do the right thing. But what I'm saying is, if you're voting on something even at a town meeting and basing it on that plan, and then nobody that even voted for this knows there's been changes, there's stuff that, isn't in the file. The management company may be in there, but that's not, what I thought it was. I thought he was doing his own management. So,
I just want you to consider something while we're having discussion.
No, no.
You have people living there now, through no fault of their own, that are gonna get up and go to work tomorrow
which is
and come
fine.
home and everything else.
So tire stops are easy to put in.
We cannot disrupt. It's not their fault that the plans weren't followed, so we can't disrupt them. So in my opinion, we need to come to a point where we can increase the safety. Nick's up here in good faith trying to make us happy with the fact that a lot of the things didn't get done. So I think my suggestion would be, let's work on the things we can work on.
So I personally would like to keep it with the dumpsters, the plan and the pads are already there, and get rid of the cans. That's what was on here. I would like to see something done with whatever that asphalt there, if he doesn't want to take it out with the court, he's now putting another building over there anyways. So there's more stuff appearing in that section. I'm fine with a bump stop, as long as something stops cars from going near those, if that's what
I would be in full
is
agreement with
easy,
that as
and that's
well.
an easy thing. I just
Okay.
think it's a safety issue with the kids. The deflector is on Mr. Pucci's light. I assume they're on all the other ones as per the approval that we gave.
The fencing all went up already.
Yes, sir.
There was a request to add some more greenery in a few spots, Noreen?
I think the other part of the problem now is if you put a dumpster in the rear, you're going to be putting it at the play area for the kids too, right?
Well, he's putting the shed there.
Yeah, but off to the side. But think about it, if you put the shed and a dumpster at the play area, I wouldn't want to be playing there. It's,
Well, isn't there
He took
an
out all
avenue
the-
for us to condition
I guess.
the trash? If it becomes a problem, then they would have to move to an alternative? Would you be amenable to that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
In the event that we go with the containers out front like they are, and it becomes a problem, would you be amenable to a condition?
I don't think you could put that kind of condition on.
Why
It's
not?
gonna be neighbor-driven, and we already know what happens with that.
Complaint driven.
Yeah, but it's not gonna, the only time we have anything to do anything is now. It's, you know, I'm just saying, the pads are poured. It isn't a cost thing. He's already got the pads there, he's got the pads in back. The only problem in the back is that he's now adding a large shed on top of a large asphalt square that isn't even on these plans.
Get my plan up there.
None of these even show the big asphalt pad that's laid in back.
This one,
There is no, the green is gone.
thank you.
There's nothing there anymore.
Let me make a suggestion then. Why don't we allow them the time to go back and rework a plan with some of the concerns here, Nick, with some of the things you heard tonight, and give us a better starting point for the next one, because I mean, it's not like they're waiting to build it. These are corrections that need to be made. So we're not putting, it's not a cost restraint on the build-out. We're getting to a point where we can correct some of the issues here. I think we're beating a dead horse right now without a new set of plans with some corrections on it.
I just say one.
And that's just my opinion, Mr. Chairman, but that's how I feel about it.
Just like to add one other thing about the trash totes versus the dumpsters, is that we have several elderly and physically disabled people in there that prefer being able to step out on their back patio and put the trash in a trash can rather than having to take it down to a dumpster.
And who takes that trash can off the
Well,
porch?
in some cases, John takes it out for
I
them.
help out.
But you'd have to be more, there needs to be a more finalized,
Well, we have a
Who
kid that
does
helps,
what?
we have a kid that helps him out with weed whacking, and the kid would take him out. But it's easier for the residents.
and where does that trash go?
That goes out to the curb, gets picked up and dumped.
By the
in-
town?
No, by Cavosa, private,
Cavosa,
private
Tuesday
trash.
mornings, and Scott, I gotta tell you, and I don't interrupt the board, it works, it's working. Every barrel is a Cavosa dump barrel with a very tight cover. So all the barrels that are in the back or whatever, I've never had a complaint from any abutters about that. And they're all state-of-the-art trash barrels with the covers, and it works, I'm telling you honestly, it's more money for us to do it the way we're doing. It would be less money to have the dumpsters there, but we want it, so everybody's, the trash barrels are working really, really good.
So
When I tell you.
what does Mercantile Property Management do? If you have to be there to take the cans, the things, the help, what do they actually do? What is their management agreement? What do they take care of?
They deal with tenant complaints. John actually handles the maintenance. John does the
So they don't
lawn.
actually do the property maintenance, they're just
Well,
dealing with
they don't cut the
tenants.
grass, no, they take the rents, they handle the books for the cost certification for the tax returns, they deal with tenant complaints, logging them in, and letting John
So
know.
that,
what-
I guess, was my question. So when they were asking for a property management agreement, that was for someone that actually takes care of the project,
You have
not
that
the
also.
rents.
You have an agreement, John has a contract with himself to handle
So
the lawn.
John is his own contract. Does mass housing allow that? Are you allowed to be the developer and the property management company, and I assume you'd be paying yourself, you'd have to pay yourself because you're doing hours. Do they allow that with these rental complexes, that the developer? Because everything I've seen always says you have to have in most cases, an outside management party.
Oh, it says you have to have a competent management company.
So they have approved.
If you're a Beacon property,
So
Beacon
they have
developer, they
approved, though.
manage their own
They
stuff.
have approved that John is the management for the property, and the other company is the management for the tenants.
John is the maintenance for the property. They are the management for the property. They manage
But
it.
the state is aware that the owner of the project is also doing his own maintenance. That's all I'm asking.
Maintenance, yes,
And that is something that's allowed.
of course.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because it was my understanding that they don't do that
You can't
without
cut your own
signing an
lawn, you
approval.
can't, I mean, if he gets a complaint about plumbing, they call him, and he calls the plumber to make sure it gets done.
I just want to make sure, it's just
Yeah.
however the state sets it up. So the state allows him to have his own company do his own property management, the actual physical, and then you're just using this other company just to deal with tenants, leases, those kind of issues. It's not, he's also handling anything with repairs, or does that management company do that?
The management company takes the calls for the repairs. They call John and tell him what the problem is, and John calls the subcontractor or the person who's gonna handle, if it's Roto-Rooter, if it's the plumber, the electrician, the HVAC guy, whoever the wherever the problem lies, John directs it to those people. And then follows up and makes sure they get it done and lets the management company know that we're all set. What he's doing himself is cutting the lawn and plowing the snow. That's it.
Well, that's what I was understanding, because he was helping with all this stuff, and I just didn't understand why he was having to do it all if he had this Mercantile Property Management Company. That's all I had.
Thanks,
Well,
Bob.
too, if you don't mind me saying, Rob, you know, to be honest, like, it keeps me around the neighborhood, everybody's.
No, it's good, I just didn't know
Like,
what,
somebody from the town said to me, John, you know, we glad you're not an absentee landlord, we're glad you're there. And again, I mean, and I don't say this in a bragging way, I mean, the place from top to bottom right now is just running like a machine. It's beautiful. I don't have one tenant complaint about anything. We're just doing beautiful with the project, and it's clean and neat.
So to try to summarize it, we're gonna come back revising that plan. Am I showing dumpsters, or are we going with the trash cans? I understand we're gonna show bumpers, concrete bumpers on
why
the,
don't you just show where the dumpster pads
You
are,
heard the discussion, so you,
and then show that, whatever that court is that's out there, the asphalt court.
yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, board. And again, no disrespect at all.
Before you leave, we do need to continue. We have a,
Yeah, so what's our next date, management?
gone.
still need to continue.
November 4th?
You have to get them?
Jerry, you can't be part of this. If you recuse yourself, you can't be part of this. You can't even go out and get them.
Okay, good enough.
My God.
That's true.
What, did you say November 4th?
We're looking,
Or what's the next one? Oh.
yeah. Yeah. There's 6 of them.
No,
Maybe November 18th,
Okay, so motion to continue to November 18th.
just to get a
that
result.
work for you?
Yeah,
Good day
thank
for you.
you.
I'll second that, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, motion was made by Bob, seconded by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
Can you see my card from here?
It's a little earlier than usual, but how about a 5-minute break?
Yeah. that'd be
Yeah,
great.
might need that.
I'm
All
gonna lay
right.
down, lay down under the table here.
All right, we are back from our break. Moving on to our new hearings. We have up first, application 71-21 Crowley, 12 Cotuit Road in North Falmouth, requesting a special permit to elevate the existing dwelling to comply with flood zone standards.
All right, application number 71-21. Thomas and Kara Crowley, 101 Old Farm Road, Milton, Mass., have applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to elevate the existing dwelling to comply with flood zone standards on subject property known as 12 Cotuit Road, North Falmouth, Mass. For referrals, from Scott McGann, the removal of the door and a 4-foot cased opening in the room labeled office would suffice to eliminate for consideration as a bedroom. So he now sees it as 4 bedrooms, which matches the 2006 Board of Health requirement. From Concom, Conservation staff recommend the applicant file a notice of intent. I think they did that with the Falmouth Conservation, seeking approval to raise the existing dwelling within conservation jurisdiction. A detailed narrative should be provided, including methodology for the proposed work. This was dated September 9th. From engineering, the application was reviewed to impacts to public rights of way and public utilities. Cotuit Road is a private right-of-way in this area. Any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. The project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. And where the project falls in the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, we recommend deferring to the Commission for Stormwater Management and Construction Erosion Controls. Planning Board, no comment. Water Department. The water service in Maine are on the plans as required. The existing service is a 1-inch tied into the existing 10-inch main in Cotuit Road. The existing meter is in a shed to the rear of the home/crawl space. The elevated home will have to include the water meter plumbed into the first floor living area so it is thermally protected and not in an area prone to flooding. Assessors, no comment. The health, this was updated, but there was a 2006 Board of Health local upgrade approval to approve a 4-bedroom septic system with a lot line setback reduction. The system was designed for 4 bedrooms. The Registry of Deeds should have a recorded letter prior to the issuance of the COC for that septic system. In that document, there is a condition that there shall not be any increase in bedrooms above the 4 existing without Board of Health approval. He had mentioned that the house showed 5, but his revised shows that it is now 4. And that's it.
All right. Sure. The voting members are the regular voting members. So, Attorney Clower?
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney with Ahmet Clower Law Firm here in Falmouth, and I represent the applicants Tom and Kara Crowley, the owners of 12 Cotuit Road. They are...
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt you, Chair.
Yep.
You have 4
Oh, that's
regular
right,
board
because of the-
members, so you need to appoint an associate.
All right, so I'll appoint Scott, and I'll just go back and forth throughout the night. So, Scott's on this one. Sorry, Attorney Clower?
Sorry to interrupt.
Quite all right.
Sorry, I forgot we
Yeah,
were
try to find
down
my
one
pace
member.
again. They're seeking permission to alter the pre-existing non-conforming dwelling on the site. This property, 12 Cotuit Road, is located just north of Old Silver Beach and Seacrest. The lot is a little over 13,000 square feet. It's in the residential B zoning district, and the entirety of the lot is within the AE 15 flood zone. Presently, there is a 5-bedroom, 3-season dwelling on the property. I'll talk about that in a moment, but it's on a footprint of 2,587 square feet, and the only nonconformity is the front yard setback, which is 23.4 feet where 25 is required. The applicants want to convert this into a year-round dwelling, and it's presently on a crawl space below the house where exposed pipes. So what they proposed is raising, RAIS, not RAZ, raising the structure in order to install a foundation in order to allow the foundation to be winterized. The benefit of this is compliance with flood zone requirements. The first floor of habitable space will go from 14 feet 9 inches to 18 feet 4 inches, which is above the 16-foot elevation that's required for FEMA compliance in an AE 15 flood zone. The applicants purchased this property in 2018. It was marketed as a 5-bedroom. The Title V reflected as being a 5-bedroom actual design. But during this process, it came to their attention that it is a 4-bedroom system, so they proposed removing one of the bedrooms on the second floor by installing a 4-foot cased opening and converting that into an office use. This is a unique application in that we're not really seeking approval for additions or alterations to the structure other than the elevation of the structure in its existing location. The only real change is the addition of a few steps on one of the back stairs to accommodate the increased height and the elimination of one of the set of stairs from the rear deck in order to comply with Conservation Commission issues. Now, Conservation held their hearing last night. It went very well from what I understand. They've taken it under advisement, but they have not issued an order of conditions on that yet. Also, the applicants have engaged Gary Sylvester, who, from what I understand, is really the person that does this kind of work in town, who knows how to do this work better than probably anyone else. And they're working with a local builder, Terry Souza, in their renovations. This proposal will not alter the front yard setback, which will remain at 23 feet 4 inches. And the side yard and rear yard setbacks will remain conforming, as will lot coverage by structure and lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking. Lot coverage by structure will still remain under 20%. The bedroom count will be reduced to 4 in order to comply with the system that's on the site. And the ridge height will be increased from 23 feet 7 inches to 27 feet 1.5 inches. Under 243C, pre-existing non-conforming structures may be altered by special permit, provided that they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. The board is asked to consider the standards of 240-216 and whether or not the alteration creates any new dimensional nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. This project, as proposed, represents a significant improvement over the existing conditions. For the applicant, it's much more useful to be winterized for year-round use, and has the very substantial benefit from a public policy standpoint of coming into compliance with FEMA requirements. The proposal will not create any new dimensional nonconformities or affect the existing nonconformity. I believe this meets the standards of 243C and 240-216. There's no adverse effects that overbalance the beneficial effects I've discussed. I believe that the board can and should grant the special permit, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have at this time.
All right, thank you, Attorney Clower. Board questions? Jerry, anything?
No questions?
James?
Mr. Clower, the existing elevation's 12 and you're going to 18.4?
It's,
Or is it at 14.9?
It's 14 feet 9 inches going to 18 feet 4 inches.
Almost at 15.
But you got to be at 16 to comply.
I know. Just to be clear, you're removing the existing septic tank, or?
So I suspect they have to move the septic tank while they're doing the elevation of the house, while they're raising the house. The machinery there, I think, would require the removal of the tank as to not disturb it.
Compelling reasons. I have no other questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Scott?
I'm good. Thank you.
Bob?
No questions.
Scott?
No questions.
All right. Attorney Clower, just to confirm on that second floor where the existing, I think the existing bedroom is, that door's being removed and the cased opening's being installed?
Yep, so we show that on the plans that were submitted, this bedroom here, with the clouded change markers, that's going to be converted to a 4-foot cased opening.
All right, and now it shows as an proposed used as an office?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that does it for me. Any follow-up questions from the board? All right, public comment, any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this project? Not seeing any, back to the board.
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion closed by James, second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken.
Just a question for the administrator. So, we don't have the Concom approval yet.
Every condition.
We just conditioned upon having a positive approval by them, or just conditioned on whatever they're. All right.
All right, how would the board like to proceed?
So motion to approve with conditions.
Second.
Thank you, Bob. Second by James. Findings?
The current home is a 5-bedroom, 3-season dwelling. Through research, they found out that there's a restriction with the Board of Health as a 4-bedroom. So the new home will be a 4-bedroom dwelling. It's in the AE 15 flood zone. 240-3C, all standards of 240-216. The front yard setback is 23. 4, where 25 is required. That's the only nonconformity. The raising of height of the structure will put in compliance with flood zone FEMA regulations.
No
First
more
floor,
detrimental.
yeah, the first floor will be going from 14.9 feet to 18.4. It has to be over 16. Lot coverage by structure will be remaining at 18.5, below the 20%. Ridge height will increase to 27 feet, 1.5 inches. They'll be putting the 4-foot cased opening in the room labeled office to keep the home as a 4-bedroom.
Enhance the usability to year-round.
Yep.
Right, any other findings? Conditions?
Per plans, the water department on the issue they had with the water service. Soil erosion and sediment control standards will be set by the Conservation Commission.
And they're moving the meter to the first floor where it's insulated instead of the ground.
Yeah.
That was the recommendation.
Okay, any other conditions?
I guess construction hours.
911 numbering if not in compliance.
Do we have Concom as a finding too?
Yeah, we'll put them that it's in front of them, and testimony was that they had a positive hearing with them last night.
Okay.
Concom would also deal with the oil tank,
I
right?
think we should put as a condition, if they're gonna move the septic tank, and it is per plan, that it should be re-inspected after it gets hooked up to after they put the foundation back in. You know, the plumber's responsible for the first 10 feet out of the foundation, but then Scott McGann or their representatives have to, anytime there's any kind of disturbance to it, has to be re-inspected.
Okay. Anything else?
Good.
All right, so that was a motion to approve with conditions made by Bob and seconded by Scott, James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
Thank
you,
you all very
Attorney
much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, up next we have application 72-21, Freshette, 79 Jones Road in Falmouth, requesting a special permit to construct an addition to the pre-existing non-conforming accessory structure.
You wanna sign?
Oh, yeah, and I'll just get it away. Jerry, you'll be a voting member on this one?
So application number 72-21, Doris Freshette, 79 Jones Road, Falmouth, Mass. has applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to construct an addition to the pre-existing non-conforming accessory structure to the subject property known as 79 Jones Road, Falmouth, Mass. On referrals, there is a, I think we did administratively, but there's an application for administrative review, yep, for the Falmouth Wetlands bylaw, because there's a swamp in back of the property.
A wetland.
Fire department has no issues with the project as drawn. The conservation for before just said the applicant should file with conservation, and that's what they did. Engineering. Application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Jones Road is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. Any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. Project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property or butters or public rights-of-way. We do not have an address on file for the accessory building. For our address policy, this should be 79 Jones Road. They're saying apartment A, I guess we could discuss it. Please see engineering for assignment of this address. They also recommend that Upon completion of the construction, the applicant shall post the address for the residence per subsection 99-1, affixing of legible numbers. Time limit for compliance. Assessor says no comment. From the water department, the water main and service must be shown in the plans. The existing service is 3/4 inch tied to an existing 6-inch main in Jones Road. The service must be upgraded to 1 inch due to plumbing improvements proposed. The water meter will have to be installed in the building as well, if not already there. And there are some letters here really quick from Nathan, I'm going to kill the name, Kresick Noel, of 91 Jones Road, confirmed that he has reviewed the plans to the renovations of the accessory building and has no objections. Same comments from Allison Klom, 71 Jones Road. And we did the withdrawal of the plans. Laura had a letter in here about withdrawing certain. I'll just read them in real quick. So there was the letter from Attorney Moynihan from September 3rd, who represents Doris Freshette. Says it appears that due to an inadvertence with 2 architectural plans with a prior design, they were added to the application in a filing error, and she names the plans SK1 62420 and SK2 Elevations 62420. I'm requesting withdrawal of these 2 plans from the file. The proposed floor plans and elevations are shown on architectural plans filed with the application EC-1 dated 7/9/20 and A-1 dated 7/9/20. To supplement the application, she also enclosed A-1, a foundation plan dated 7/9/20, A-1.2 roof plan dated 7/9/20, which is the proposed, and EC-1.2, the roof plan, which is the existing. And that's it.
Thanks, Bob. And for the applicant, Attorney Moynihan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Laura Moynihan for the record, representing Doris Freshette, who's here tonight with me. This is the property identified on the GIS map at 79 Jones Road in yellow. You can see the buildings are abut or right up against that lot line.
Pardon me, Laura, just 1 second. I did forget the Scott McGann Health Department.
Sure.
He said the plans presented show a proposed 4-bedroom septic system being tied into an existing 2,000 2-compartment septic tank. 2-compartment is required for multifamily. That would be suitable as long as the total number of bedrooms between the 2 structures does not exceed 4 bedrooms. He did say that the property is not located in the Coastal Pond Overlay District, so is not subject to a denitrifying septic system requirement if they were going under the accessory apartment bylaw. My apologies for that.
That's okay. This is actually an application to renovate an accessory structure. A dwelling is not being proposed. We're proposing it as guest quarters, and I'll explain that. So it's not an accessory dwelling. It's not a dwelling because we're not proposing any cooking facility, so it does not meet the definition of a dwelling. It's essentially a building that's been there, we believe, since about 1929. That was originally a garage. Doris bought the property in the late 90s and was using it for her dressmaking, and now would like to renovate the interior and the exterior of the building. So we are obviously in a developed neighborhood. We have rather low lot coverage by structures, and overall 8.3% and 19% overall. The lot is about 19 to 20,000 square feet, and we're in a residential C zoning district. The house was built about 1920, according to the assessor's records, and the accessory building built about 1929. That information came from Frank Nunes, who was a prior owner, who Doris spoke with, but there are also the former assessor's records that the zoning board has on file that are dated 1957 that show the age of the garage, which was a former garage, having depreciated about 30 years. So we know that this building, from that at least, has been around for many decades. The height of it is 10 feet 6 inches. and it is non-conforming to the side yard setback in that it's only 1 foot off the line. So what Ms. Freshette would like to do is to add a small addition, 42 square feet, to the building. That's necessary to add on in one small corner to increase the height to meet building code. She'd like to renovate the interior of the building for her guest quarters. She does live in the existing dwelling on the property, which has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom on the main floor only. So there are 2 bedrooms upstairs and then the 1 bathroom on the main floor. This is difficult. She has an elderly mother who visits frequently, and very difficult having the bedrooms upstairs and the bathroom on the main floor, as well as other family that does come and visit. So we're only looking for a slight increase in lot coverage by 0.2%, and a septic system upgrade is proposed. And this is the site plan. You'll see the building, the accessory building on the left-hand side against that lot line, and the dwelling is up towards Jones Road up at the top of the screen. The addition is shown in this area here. Is the area of the addition, the 42 square feet. This is the drawing of the existing home, so you can see the layout, the 2 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, and then on the 1st floor, the bathroom, porch, kitchen, dining, and living area, and an office. So not a large dwelling by any stretch, but we wanted to show you this to show you the layout of that. And these are the existing floor plans and demolition plans that you have in your file. Let's see if I can get this to go up a bit here. So you see the existing floor plan on the left, and then in the lower part of the screen, you'll see the south and east elevations, which are the only 2 elevations that are being worked on, just with removal of windows, removal of a door, and as the length of the building there. And then these are the proposed floor plans. So you have the foundation plan on the left. In the middle, you have the proposed floor plan, which shows at the top the living area, and then the bar area. There would be a bar, fridge, and a small sink, and a pantry storage area, and then the bedroom and the bathroom, and then as you proceed down the plan towards the bottom would be the closet, and then you have the roof framing plan as well. And these are the proposed elevations, so you can see in the middle of the screen on the east elevation, we have the 2 doors going in, and then the architect has shown the section through the addition, as well as the south elevation as well. So the building height will not change. It's 10 feet 6 inches with the renovation. Obviously, it's going to be a substantial improvement to both the inside and outside of this very old building. As far as the zoning bylaw goes, it's an application under 240-3 because it's a non-conforming structure. Even though it's accessory, it's non-conforming. So we would submit that the changes are not substantially more detrimental than existing. The setback is not changing. There are no adverse neighborhood impacts. The letters that you have in the file are from the abutters on both sides of the property. We thought that was important to review it with those abutters, particularly the proximity to the lot line. And they have no objections. We think it would be of benefit to the neighborhood and the town with the improvements. There's a septic system upgrade proposed. The water service upgrade, if the board is inclined to grant the permit, we would expect it would be conditioned for the 1-inch service and the interior water meter install that the water department requested. And would submit that the standards of the bylaw haven't been met for the application. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Attorney Moynihan. Let's start off this end. Scott, anything?
No.
All right, Bob?
So my worries about these are all the time is that they appear to be separate dwelling units or could be apartments. And Health Department referral, he's almost doing his referral as if it was already a multifamily, and the Water Department is thinking of it as a separate address and a separate building. Why not just connect it to the main house and have one property through? Is there a, and when
Well,
you're doing, and when the plan shows a pantry besides a bar fridge, to me, pantry denotes you're gonna be preparing something.
Well, I think I mean, to answer your first question, I think there's an obvious cost issue in doing this connection through to the building. And even if you did connect it, you wouldn't be able to create a dwelling with it. So you have a situation similar to, other buildings that you've approved that you see around town, guest quarters above a garage or guest quarters in a pool house where there is a bar fridge, there is counter space, there is a sink, but there is nowhere for cooking facilities. Pantry may not have been the best choice of words, but I look at that as storage area. I mean, if you look at the layout of the floor plan, in the middle here, there really isn't any storage in it at all. But I think the board can certainly condition the permit, as you have in the past, that there be no cooking facilities, that it will not be utilized as a dwelling, and that would keep it within the guest quarters framework. But
And this layout wouldn't meet the accessory apartment bylaw anyway.
no, it's too large. Yeah, we looked at that initially. So I think it can be conditioned, as you have done with other projects, to keep it out of the dwelling classification.
And she doesn't have any planning on renting it anyways. This is just for family members that,
Correct, guest quarters. Yeah.
okay, that's all I have.
All right, Scott.
I'm good for now. Thank you.
James?
I have no questions, thank you.
Jerry?
No questions.
All right. The questions I did have were already addressed through Bob, so. Members of the public, any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this project? All right, seeing none, back to the board. Any
Close.
follow-up questions?
Second.
All right, motion to close made by Scott, second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Hearing is closed. No more testimony may be taken. Would the board like to proceed?
Make a motion to approve with conditions.
Second.
All right, thank you, Scott and James.
Ready, Bob?
Findings?
Yeah, I'm ready.
240, 240-3, 240-216.
Is it 243C, 240-216?
Yep. Septic upgrade. No abutter opposition. No more detrimental.
2 letters in support. Both the immediate abutters are in support of the project.
Testimony is this is just for family guest use only. It's not intended to be a dwelling unit. It's not intended to have a kitchen. Not intended to be rented. Property is a single-family use only.
Project will result in a de minimis increase in lot coverage of 0.2%.
And that's to get the ceiling height so that they can meet building code. The nonconformity is the sideline, which is about a foot.
Increase in utilization of the property.
Comments by Water Department is they'll need a separate water service. Comments by engineering is they'll need to just denote as 79-A for address.
Upgrade, did you say upgrade in water?
Yeah.
Upgrade in water system, meter inside.
They got an administrative review from Concom for the wetlands and back.
Anything else for findings?
Uh,
We'll move on to conditions.
Per plan. Construction hours that we usually do.
Mm-hmm.
No parking on Jones Road. During construction, there's room inside.
I just put in the findings that the 4-bedroom septic system is being tied to an existing 2,002 compartment septic tank. And that the property is not in a coastal pond overlay district.
Section 99.1, numbering of
Yeah, section 91, fixing illegible numbers, and I assume, Noreen, this doesn't do anything legal. If we give this a separate address,
No,
it's just
so,
for administrative purposes, it's not,
right, so the specific point for that is so that if there's an emergency
Yeah.
911 call, that they can find.
so maybe
party.
put that in the findings, that the address is for,
Emergency use.
also, again, with the water, and the meter will have to be installed inside the building if not already there. It's, no cooking facilities. Not to be used as a separate rental.
Anything else?
I'm good.
All right, so that was a motion to approve with conditions made by Scott, second by James. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Attorney Moynihan, thank you.
Good luck.
All right, up next we have application 73-21, Perrin Trustees, 54 Marshall Marshall Drive in East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to construct an attached garage addition with habitable space above. And for this, I'll be appointing Scott as a voting member.
So application number 73-21, Lisa A. and Andrew J. Perrin, trustees of 14 Charles River Drive, Franklin, Mass., has applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-3C and 240-69E of the Code of Falmouth to construct an attached garage addition with habitable space above, exceeding 20% lot coverage by structures on subject property known as 54 Marshall Drive, East Falmouth, Mass. From engineering, the application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Edgewater Drive East is a public right-of-way in this area, and Marshall Drive is a private right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way would require filing a permit with the engineering division. Any connections or alterations to public utilities would require permission from the appropriate town department. The project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. We recommend the board add a condition that requires the addition of dry wells or stormwater infiltration measures for the new roof area at a minimum. Erosion controls are proposed to envelope the limit of work and protect the abutting property and right-of-way. From Water Department, water service in main must be on the plans. The service is only partially shown. The existing home is fed from a 6-inch main in Marshall Drive. The water service may have to be upgraded in size due to the additional bathroom. If that is the case, the water meter must be inside the home if not already there. Health Department, the concept plan shows 5 bedrooms, 1 in basement, 2 on first, and 2 on second. And there is a plan for a 4-bedroom septic as part of the application. Since lot space is tight and may not allow for 5 bedrooms, the applicant should make adjustments to the floor plans to show 4 bedrooms. Fire Department has no issues with the project as drawn. And then there is also from the Building Department, June 9, 2014, for 54 Marshall Drive, it was regarding an addition alteration. This would be for the basement to remove and replace water-damaged drywall insulation flooring in the bedrooms, living room, and kitchen. Replace the cabinets in the basement. Basement not to be an apartment, no stove, not to be used as an apartment, single dwelling use only. And they did submit lot coverage bulk calculations worksheet.
All right. And for the applicant?
Hey, yes, how you doing? My name's Pete Langen, Langen Contracting. I'm a builder developer here in Falmouth, and I'm representing Lisa and Andy Perrin. Basically, the project where they're looking to add a 2-car garage to the existing house. The house right now is, it is a 3-bedroom. The statement about the fourth bedroom, basically, that's a typo. That room that is in the basement, it's not, the window currently doesn't meet egress for it to be a legal bedroom. And if you look at the floor plan there, that closet is actually access to the oil tank. So it's not a bedroom, and I have no problem conditioning on that. And we have already obtained a 4-bedroom septic permit from the health department. Excuse me. As far as the drainage goes, we did add 2 dry wells to it, and that totally takes care of the new addition area. The plan also shows, and it's kind of tough to tell because when you look at the site plan, there's actually a lot going on there. There's a current shed that's out, it's about 13 feet off the street that we're looking to relocate on the property. And we do that and bring it actually farther back. It's beyond 30 feet back from the street once we relocate it. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The ridge height is stated, it's not going any higher. It's about 2 feet lower than the current ridge height of the building. Let's see if there's any other questions. Yeah, the setback from the street from the garage is gonna be 29 feet, where right now the existing setback from the stairs is 18.6.
All right, anything else?
No, I'm ready for questions.
Sounds good. All right, Jerry, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, James?
Do you have any problem with the addition of dry wells as requested?
Excuse me?
Do you have any problem with the addition of dry wells as requested?
Is right, no, it's, the new plan shows that.
Okay.
So I did amend that, and that's been submitted, and it does show the dry wells.
Other questions?
All right, Scott?
More of a procedural question. Why wasn't it staked?
Why wasn't what?
Why wasn't it staked out
Oh,
for us, for our site visit?
honestly, I did not know, no one had requested it. I didn't know it needed to be staked, so,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks, Chairman.
All right, Bob?
Now, I was gonna bring up the stakes too. So on the plan you just mentioned, on that lower level, you said the window was removed?
No, the window's there, but for it to be a legal bedroom, it has to have a certain 5.9 square feet egress code. So basically, in the event there was a fire or something like that, to get out of it, you have to meet, it needs to be egressable.
So that's for building code, I'm talking about.
You got, that's a building
Yeah,
code,
so I'm talking
correct.
about health code. So on the health
Okay.
code with the Title V,
Yep,
they just deal with the room size, the window, and the heat.
okay.
So that is probably what health department is
And
referring
again,
to?
you know, where with Scott, he did say, you know, we could amend the plan, so it doesn't say that, doesn't call it a bedroom, and that's.
So you'd
no-
have to actually amend the plan so that it doesn't meet the definition. So it may actually be removing a door, opening a wall.
And whatever we need to do, and I'm fine with the condition on that.
What exists now in the kitchen downstairs?
It's just some cabinetry and a microwave.
So there's a microwave, is there a stove?
No,
So did they,
and that was existing when they bought the house.
the microwave?
No, the kitchen, it's kind of a, we'll call that a kitchenette, and the primary kitchen's upstairs.
So when did they buy the house?
Honestly, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, from another house, and they existed, or they owned another house in Falmouth, right in Seacoast. Prior to that, they just moved up a bit.
Because the reason I ask is because in the 2014, when they had to do the renovations in the basement,
Yep.
they specifically can't have the microwave. or
No,
stove downstairs.
absolutely, and they're aware of that.
But they have one there already.
The microwave?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that could be removed. Sorry.
That's all I have right now.
All right, Scott?
I clarified the septic in the bedrooms. That was my question, so thank you.
All right. No questions from me. Everything's already been addressed, so public comment, any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this project? Seeing none, back to the board.
So 2 things. So, and then I understand he didn't understand it had to be staked, but we really should have the property staked so we can actually review what's on the site. My other concern is I would like to see some kind of a photo of what is in that kitchen downstairs, since there was a microwave existing before and might be something else, and it is a specific restriction on the original building permit. know, they have sliders and everything else, and just like any area of town, they're easily to be added as a, or used as a two-family. It
We
actually,
haven't closed, right?
No, not
No.
yet.
it actually has a s another driveway, which could be for guests.
You are aware of the 2014 decision on that permit that stated that you weren't supposed to have that, or you weren't?
No, I was not aware of that one. But they're gonna be moving down full-time. They're selling their house in Franklin. So it is, I mean, and they have kids, so there's absolutely no way it's gonna become a two-family. And I understand you need
Yeah,
to
we just
cover
need-
yourself,
we
but,
just need some kind of confirmation that shows that if the stove isn't there now,
yep,
Just gotta get on the record.
maybe they could
so.
just,
okay. And if there's any, I mean, if possible, that could
maybe
be
they
a
could just take a
condition.
quick
That's
snapshot and say, this is what it looks like now, and then we
Yep.
have it for the file and know
Yep.
there's no stove, and
Okay.
then that's, and we should get it, we actually, before we decide, should have it staked so we can see where the power lines are.
Do we want revised plans to show cased entry?
Yeah, so they're actually gonna
I
have to
think so.
work
I mean,
with the
if they're
health
gonna continue
department.
it, you might as well, right?
Yeah, you'll have to check with the health department to find out what you can do on the floor
Scott's
plan.
just see what he's gonna want
Or
for,
something from Scott saying he doesn't consider it a bedroom?
Right.
Yeah,
okay?
because right now, the plan that you have, even though, you know, I know it doesn't have the big enough door.
Yep.
For health purposes, he considers it
Not-
a 5.
Just want something.
And you
Okay.
can only have it as a 4.
Okay.
So I'm sure he can tell you what would have.
All right, so you want the plan revised for whatever he's
So that it
looking for
meets the- so it
to
meets the
take
floor
away
bedroom
the
septic.
chance of a bedroom, okay?
Just throw the stakes out and then maybe get some photos of the downstairs kitchen area.
There is a bathroom downstairs though, right?
Yes,
In
yep.
that lowest level?
Yep.
So what is it, a lift toilet that
Uh,
pumps it up to the top?
No, actually, the sewer goes under the slab, it's deep.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, it does.
Yeah, because there's what, 8 or 9 foot grade change?
Yes,
there?
you got it. That whole side, it's a walkout on that east side where it abuts Edgewater West, Edgewater East, that whole side's a walkout, so.
And there's no facilities in the garage, the proposed garage?
Nope, well, there will be, above the garage is a master bedroom.
There'll be a bathroom up there as
Yeah,
well?
yep.
So I did have one more question on the plan. So right now, you go from the first floor, there is a stairway down to the basement.
Yep.
Is that stairway being discontinued and then being relocated?
No,
So you'll still have the stairway that goes from the first floor downstairs?
yes, correct.
Then you'll have the additional stairway that goes from the garage downstairs?
You got it, yep.
You should relocate, rename the outdoor shower to a rinse station.
Actually, it is, on the site plan, it is a rinse station.
Make it consistent.
Yeah, okay, yep, yep.
All right, anything else? I think that just about covers it, right?
He's got the coverage and stuff, so I guess I would make a motion for, they can supply the information we asked for, and then we can just continue to the next.
Sure.
What's our next available date? All right.
Shouldn't be very
No, I
long,
mean,
right?
can we squeeze them in November, just to?
Yeah, October 21st is pretty full. I mean, unless you think you're literally gonna just vote.
If it's too full, what's the next November?
November 4th?
November 4. So then I
You
make,
have enough time to get that, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes,
And available on November 4th?
yep, no problem.
All right,
and you can just stake it whenever. You can
Okay.
just go before then.
All right,
So, motion to continue to November 4th.
all right, motion was made to continue by Bob, is there a second? Second by Scott, thank you, Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
great, thank you
Your
very
time
much.
tonight, and we'll see you back November 4th.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for our new hearings. Moving on to our open meeting items. Up first, we have voting the minutes for August 19th, September 9th, and September 16th.
I think we're just doing the 19th.
Yep. All right,
So I will make a motion to approve the minutes of August 19th.
Second.
all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
All right,
I wasn't here.
that passes. So we are tabling September 9th and September 16th. On to item number 2, we have reviewing the draft decision with a vote anticipated for application 59-21, Field Pond Realty LLC, 87 Water Street in Woods Hole. So Noreen circulated the draft to us. So everyone had a chance to look it over?
Yeah, you want me to just go over the conditions or the?
Sure, I think conditions are just fine.
All right, so condition 1, construction shall be substantially as shown on the plan submitted to and reviewed by the board as follows. Plan of proposed deck prepared for Eel Pond Realty LLC for Lot 0, number 87 Water Street in Woods Hole, Falmouth, Mass., prepared by Holmes McGrath, Inc., 205 Worcester Court, Suite A4, Falmouth, Mass., revision date of August 25th, 2021. Furnishing plans, Woods Hole Market, 87 Water Street, Woods Hole, Mass., sheet A-1, elevations, sheet A-2, and floor plans, back egress, sheet A-3, prepared by William Roslansky, 26 Albatross Street, Woods Hole, Mass., revision date 8/23. That should be 2021.
Right, so the reference is that if the
Yeah.
plan had a mistype on it.
Okay. 2, the premises is approved for multi-use as a market/deli and restaurant. The restaurant is approved for breakfast and dinner.
Wasn't there lunch?
No, they weren't gonna do lunch. They were gonna
Night
serve the
Maybe-
people downstairs.
I thought it was an area that people were just gonna take sandwiches to.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it considered?
There's 2 number 2s here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
All right, so the
No
next, so I'll just change them as I go. So,
Depends on what time you eat.
2, now 3, the applicant is required to submit an approved plan to the wastewater division to demonstrate how kitchen fat, oil, and grease will be kept from the municipal water system prior to a required sign-off on a building permit. Then the construction shall comply with engineering requirements, including A, no stormwater runoff may be directed off the premises. The proposed work shall not cause erosion or runoff into the adjacent town or abutting properties. B, the project shall comply with the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions as provided on the town's engineering division webpage. I think we have to put us as the, I think they require us as the party, the ZBA. C, construction vehicles and materials shall be maintained within the premises to all the extent possible. If the street will be blocked or impeded during demolition or construction, the contractor shall notify police. Any required details shall be at the applicant's expense. The applicant shall comply with any requirements of the Select Board, Planning Board, Conservation Commission, and other committee or departments having jurisdiction over the proposal. The applicant shall contact the Select Board to determine if a license is necessary to gain approval for the placement of bike racks in the loading zone, or the applicant may place the bike rack elsewhere. And it's just plural, there's 2. 6, the applicant shall continue to lease the 4 parking spaces from the Steamship Authority. The applicant is otherwise granted a waiver for compliance with parking regulations due to the unique existing circumstances in Woods Hole. There shall not be an apartment within the premises as shown on the plan. Hours of construction are limited to 7 a.m. through 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. through 4 p.m. on Saturdays. There shall be no construction on Sundays or holidays, absent an emergency. This permit shall not take effect until a copy of the decision bearing the certificate of the town clerk is, you know what is not in here is the conditions of that other board. The one that they submitted,
Historical.
that architectural state one that was very specific.
oh, the architectural access.
They had like 3 or 4 specific conditions, so we should have that in here that has to comply with their conditions. And then the permit shall not take effect until a copy of the decision bearing the certification of the town clerk that 20 days has elapsed after the decision had been filed in the office of the town clerk, with no appeal being filed or an appeal has been filed within such time is recorded in the Barnstable Registry of Deeds. Any person exercising rights under a duly appealed special permit does so at the risk that a court will reverse the permit, and that any construction performed under the permit may be ordered undone. Any deviation, no matter how minor, from the approval issued by this board shall be submitted to the board for approval prior to implementation of said change. The zoning administrator may make a determination as to whether the changes are minor in nature and can be approved administratively, or whether they will require a hearing for an amendment. Changes made prior to an approval may be subject to a full hearing and are at risk that the zoning board of appeals may deny the request. And 11, the special permit shall lapse 3 years from the date on which this decision is filed in the town clerk's office. If a substantial use of the special permit has not sooner commenced, except for good cause shown, is determined by the zoning board of appeals.
All right, so those are the conditions. And
With the
we do
amended
want-
change.
With the
Could I-
amended change.
On a condition, is the grease trap internal to the building or external? Because it could be well, if it's internal, the plumbing health department approves it. If it's external, it's probably wastewater. And it may be external for the location.
I don't know if that came out through testimony, Jerry. That's a good question.
I mean, I thought he said that was going to be a condition. Was that a finding?
No, they conditioned it on,
Well, maybe condition that it's approved by the health department and the wastewater. Because within that, Scott, you might remember.
well, it's on town sewer, right?
No, but if it's
Yeah,
inside
but
the
the grease
building,
trap doesn't go out to that.
it depends where the grease trap is.
Right, well, that was their concern, so
There's an internal
wastewater
grease trap,
specifically
then they pump
requested.
And it's the Board of Health issue.
Right. He is right.
So just make it
You
dual.
can just add Board of Health.
Yeah.
All right.
Good catch, Jerry.
Anything else?
No, and so there was nothing else with, water department online services or anything?
I'm sorry, anything else?
On the referrals that we had. There was nothing on, there were no issues with upgrading water service or any of those.
We had nothing from water.
Okay.
All right, so the voting members on this were myself, Scott Zelinski, Bob, James, and Jerry.
And did we put in the findings that Concom didn't have any jurisdiction now because of the?
Well, I think their original concern was that the applicant would not qualify for a variance to get closer to the wetland area, as opposed to a lack of jurisdiction.
So where they sent us that referral, though, do we have to put a finding that says that they're not moving closer to the water?
Just date the memo.
Oh, if you look at number 22, put in,
Oh, there you go. Referencing further inquiries, the applicant revised this. Okay, that's that's what's there.
One other thing, Scott, did they put in the no external vents? Wasn't that one of your concerns?
Say again?
Wasn't one of your concerns, no external vents on the roof?
The vents were already there.
Yeah.
Through testimony,
Okay.
they stated that the vent, there would be
So
no.
that's not, doesn't have to be a condition, then?
No, it's,
Okay.
they were already existing, and that was
Okay.
through testimony, so
Okay,
they needed to go back before it, they'd have to amend the permit,
Okay.
but we don't need to put that in now.
I agree.
Right.
If it's not new work.
On the,
All right, anything else?
1 second. No, that's it.
All right, is there a motion?
Could you just put on that loading zone that it's a shared loading zone? It's for all the businesses down there.
All right, last call, anything else? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to amend the decision, move to approve as amended.
Second.
All right, move to approve as amended, made by James, second by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously.
Fantastic.
All right. Board updates, anything?
Recodification is back on the 18th, which I
Aye.
think will be the final before town meeting.
I urge everybody to look at it. I quickly looked at it, and I found out they had our terms as 5 years and not 3. They had the administrator being appointed by the ZBA, not the selectmen. And another one, building permit was appealable to the administrator. I don't know, I know they changed one. I don't know what they're gonna do the others. Others may see it. It's just
You know
in
what?
one small section.
Read right through it, and then all those things, just pop a note to Noreen so that we can actually give it to them, because...
No, we voted not to discuss it here. I gave my comment.
No, but I mean, if you saw the errors on what you read, you can send her their typo errors and stuff that you can...
Well, some of it might not have been typos, it might have been change in law and things like that, a typo. I just urge you, there's one section dealing with us.
All right, good catches, Jerry.
Anybody got a big day coming up?
Ooh, no,
Anything soon?
there's nothing special going on.
Is there anything special going on, sir?
Nope.
We're not meeting next week.
Why?
How come? Why aren't we meeting next week? You're looking
Got something to
nervous.
do?
You're looking nervous. You're
You got
sweating.
something to do?
On Friday, I do.
What's that?
Getting married.
You're getting married.
You have a special permit?
I have a permit. It's not a, well, you could say it's a special one, but not the ones that we deal with.
We wish you all the best.
Variance
you.
in lifestyle.
Thank you. All right.
Welcome to the dark side.
That's,
We can let everyone know where it is so the whole town can show up.
My honey's not watching.
it's a matter of public record. It is a
That's
permit.
We set a date for the, we were gonna discuss the other zoning decision that's gonna go in front of the,
Oh, the bylaw
Tell me.
thingy.
You gotta be more specific. What are we talking about?
The overlay district.
the overlay. The board had some concerns, and they thought they wanted to have a meeting before town meeting.
What's the date of town meeting?
It is November, but you have that on for your open meeting for your next meeting.
Oh,
To
okay.
talk about,
You know,
town
we can
meeting
always change the
articles.
date till next Thursday, and then,
No, I just didn't know, I forgot that you had
he's
it
not in
on.
a hurry for anything.
November
We can-
15th.
zinger.
No, thank you.
I'll be busy.
Town meeting is November 15, yes.
Lovely.
All right. Anything else, board discussion? Besides my upcoming nuptials, nothing? Future agenda items? All right, next meeting.
We have to, we need to update that, procedures for, appointments on applications, if they're continued applications.
Yeah,
So I don't know
I
what
think
you put that under.
Yeah, I think you have a list. I don't know if that, you want to include that on
We
your Saturday.
include that on it, so we can
Probably
just
not
Yeah.
for-
get that in sooner
Yeah.
than later,
Or we could just, put it in.
or just change it.
And we have to put some guidelines on disclosures, timelines.
Yeah, I think there's- yeah.
Levels of interest. We have to get some kind of ground rules to that, so at least we all know what you know, what field we're on.
You mean like the disclosure I had tonight?
Pardon me?
Like the disclosure I had tonight for timelines?
Just for all of us in general. I mean, we all live in this town, and we all have relationships outside of this. But I think appeal-wise, it would be important to try to do the very best we can to eliminate things that we know are out in the world.
But, I mean, another thing is, you should go to the attorney or the AG's office. Anything else, you're subject to, you know. And I agree with you, but I think, we're gonna say any relationship 5 years or older. I mean, I
I'm
think
just
it's a
saying,
broad-
I'm just saying,
Just to eliminate the appearance of,
I mean, collectively, Jerry, not you, not just you. I
No,
mean,
no, no,
all
but I
of
mean, I
us
think
have
that's-
relationships in this town, and sometimes you don't know whether it's appropriate to make a disclosure or not, and then halfway through the hearing, you feel like, oh my God, was I in that house 10 years ago? And you say, well, what's the rule we go by?
right.
I mean, I just think it would be good.
I didn't mean it was, I used that as an example.
Yeah.
That
for sure.
Yeah,
what
so-
public intent is.
And the fact that we're all on this board now for quite a while together, there's no, I mean, I think it's a perfect opportunity. You have been I mean, I know you're busy and you're gonna get married and everything, but you've been talking about some procedural things that, as the chair, you wanted to
Yep.
nail down, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for us to do that now.
Well, there are certain circumstances that you always have to recuse from.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know, if you have a financial interest in a
Exactly.
business.
But it's the gray area that I'm
Right,
talking about.
so
your
what I would
parents.
always recommend is, if it's even somebody you have dinner with once a month, you just
Right.
say, I have dinner with so-and-so once a month. I feel I can be fair and impartial.
It's cleaner that way.
And then it's up to the applicant to argue,
Yep.
but at least it's out there.
Yep.
But does that have to be a written recusal, a disclosure?
So,
That's- I think that's the point.
if you know ahead and you still feel that you can be fair and impartial, it's optimal to disclose
Right.
in advance, right?
Yeah, I
But
would-
if it comes
think
up at the
written is better.
hearing and you look at somebody and you say, hey,
Oh, my God, yep.
your cousin is my next door neighbor, or whatever it is, right? It's fine to say that.
I don't think it should be written though, Jerry, because there's been times where I've been on this board and you see somebody come in that you didn't know was part of that application.
Okay, no,
You know what I mean?
You
And you gotta
can't-
be able to make that determination
You can't always know.
No,
I
you
have-
don't.
yeah.
You, I mean, people change their names, people get remarried, I mean, you don't know until you see.
Don't worry about it, you're gonna get married
The
once.
Board of Selectmen have a very good procedures manual.
Yeah, I
Right
mean-
down to code of conduct.
I had a former board member who was an attorney in a large firm.
Mm-hmm.
No way to know that somebody that came in had a relationship with that firm.
Absolutely.
There's no way to know until it comes up.
And there's enough things that are appealable in these cases
So
that
you
we
just
don't
do
need
the
to
best
add
you
to
can.
it.
Right.
All right.
Chairman,
Yep,
you need to get your rest.
yeah, anything else? Future agenda items? No, seeing none. Our next meeting is October 21st. See everyone then.